every bisexual I've ever met has like a 2 to 3 month period where they conduct themselves as if they have personally invented the concept of being bisexual.
Guilty as charged.
We all have terrible memories.
Yeah.
None of us can make decisions. It's the most ADHD of sexuality.
Tell us your story. Who are you?
I am a comedian and an actor and a writer, and I do all kinds of things. I'm also a bisexual trans man. That's me, I guess. Who are you, Ian?
I'm a bisexual man who came out 2 years ago, so conversations like this are new to me.
I'm Fionn, the final one, I suppose, and I'm a bisexual man as well. I was in student politics. I used to be the president of TW Students' Union, but now I'm just a regular old dude working in retail.
How did you realize you were bi?
I actually went through the whole thing of thinking I was straight for a very long time. So, and then after a while, I went the complete opposite. I thought I was just a gay man. And I think for myself, being a trans man, I hyped up the femininity in order to pass because I was scared that people would think I was a lesbian. So I went completely the opposite way. You being like, slay, mama, da, da. And then inside I was like, women, oh my God, like women. And I was like, no, I have to hide that. I can't be feminine and be bisexual. And then it kind of started slowly creeping in, and I think I found it harder coming out as bisexual than I did actually as trans, because for me, I found that the toxic masculinity, especially within Ireland, is very, very heavy. And the fact that I wasn't going around acting a certain way, for me, I found was a lot harder. After a lot of support from my friends, I eventually came out as bisexual, and then I realized I don't have to act completely feminine, but I can have aspects to my personality or who I am that is feminine.
I'm the most seasoned bisexual veteran here then. No, I came out as bisexual before I came out as trans. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but you can be bisexual as a woman or as a man. And if you transition from one to the other, you're probably still bisexual, but it's fluctuated. I mean, like when I originally came out, I was kind of like, bisexual. I know that I'm interested in like dating men and women. Like I also date like non-binary people. At the time, it kind of like there weren't as many bi people I also date non-binary people, but at the time there weren't as many non-binary people who were like open and kind of out about that and stuff. But it's fluctuated. Like when I was identifying as like a bi woman before I knew I was trans, I was kind of like, I'm mostly interested in like dating women and stuff at the time, because I was like, straight men, I don't know if I'm interested in relationships with them, really. And that's still the case, wildly. So I like realized I was bi before I came out as trans, before I knew I was trans.
I knew, I think, from the age of about 16, internally. But to be honest, I think the thing that just stopped me coming out was I didn't find, and I'd be interested to hear both of your views on this, I didn't find queer spaces in college as I came in to be the most accessible, because I'm autistic and I have ADHD, and I didn't really mesh with that atmosphere. I didn't want to say didn't feel welcome, but it wasn't fit for certain needs in my case. So I knew from a fairly young age, but didn't want to really disclose until well into my late 20s, personally.
Just on that topic, did you feel like maybe with like queer spaces and stuff, like a lot of it can be nightclubs and stuff, did you feel like maybe that was an issue with being bisexual, why you kind of put it off a little bit until we had different safe spaces and stuff? Because for me, like, I'm a fiend for an L nightclub, I might say. Love it. So
loves to say.
You know, it was a two-parter thing. For me, part of it was actually such a large part of being in any way neurodivergent is that you feel the need to kind of tone down big aspects of your personality. And I think I self-identified as being quite quiet, but I'm really not. But I just didn't feel comfortable to be my whole self in any sense, regardless of sexuality. So nightclubs, would have been kind of a bit of a sensory trigger for me. But secondly, I didn't feel confident to be really out there either. At the same time, actually the bigger problem was just generally, there was just a quiet undercurrent of ableism that I was sensing in some of the spaces.
So I'm kind of grateful in that aspect. But I think for me would have been more like the going into this safe space, like you said, as a bisexual man, and people turning around and being like, no, you're really just gay. Like I got that a lot. When it's funny because I've dated men and women and non-binary people. So for me, it's kind of like, well, then you get the self-doubt, and I think that kind of comes in. So I don't know about you, Felix, but have you ever had that?
Oh yeah. Plenty of that.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of that. Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, like I remember like when I was, there actually wasn't like that long between coming out as bi and coming out as trans for me. Like there was maybe like 9 or 10 months. It was like I entered something of a queer chrysalis and I emerged several times. It wasn't so much a closet as like a revolving door. I was just like, oh, I'm out. Oh no, there's another closet. What's going on here?
And within the closet,
You're just walking into these places, just opening doors.
Inception. I was like, what's in all of me? I was kind of back and forth when I was like identifying as a queer woman or as a bi woman. I will use the terms queer and bi like interchangeably. I'm not sure how you guys feel about the term
Yeah, no, I
queer.
would do that too.
Yeah.
It's fun that you mentioned the distinction between the language, because I've noticed a trend with newly out bisexuals, and I include myself in this category. There's a certain like annoying phase you go through where every bisexual I've ever met has like a 2 to 3 month period where they conduct themselves as if they have personally invented the concept of being bisexual.
Guilty as charged.
We all have terrible memories.
Yeah.
None of us can make decisions. It's the most ADHD of sexuality.
Are bi people more likely to cheat? That's a big stereotype I find. I find that people take this because we don't just, our sexuality isn't just one gender. I think people think, oh, in that case, there's more choice. When, I mean, if I don't like you, I don't like you. So, you know, but I'm not going to cheat. And I think cheating, like for me anyway, I think cheating's wrong. Some people have different views, but cheating is a no-go for me. But just because I'm a bisexual man doesn't mean I'm more likely to cheat at all. I would never cheat.
See, for me, I actually think cheating's good, and violating the trust of your partner is an okay thing to do.
Absolutely not. No.
No, but I will say, so I would consider myself like non-monogamous. I've been in like monogamous or like pseudo-monogamous relationships. For me personally, it's not like, monogamy is not something that comes particularly naturally to me. I am a very distractible person. Which maybe makes me look bad. I don't know. I have never cheated on like an intimate partner in like any significant kind of way. In secondary school, I had a boyfriend and then I shifted a girl at a party. That's about the most cheating I've ever done.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with you being bisexual.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah,
You're a bad person, not myself.
That's because I personally am a piece of shit. And he was like, "Oh, it's fine because it's a girl," and I was like, and I came out. I broke up with him and came out like the next week.
Wait, hold on. Just to like, go back. He said it was okay because it was a girl. That's another thing.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot with bisexual people as well, where people will be like, oh, it's okay because it's a girl, or it's okay because it's maybe someone of the same gender. And personally, I think that's just not cool.
Favorite historical examples of that is Hans Christian Andersen, who talked about it at length, but his thing that like he was bisexual, he tried getting with Jenny Lind, the opera singer that you might know from The Greatest Showman, but also had all of these like deep unrequited crushes on men, and like he was very like not romantically active for most of his life, and just his way of coping was just by writing really scathing, cautionary, metaphorical stories like The Little Mermaid about it. So, you know, there's no mark of in fact, in a really grim note, he died clutching a wedding ring actually that he never got a chance to
I didn't know that.
give,
Well, I mean,
but
speaking about that, like, you know, like I think in the media though, I don't think there's much bi men representation at all. I think the only one I know is Alan Cummings.
Yeah,
he's the
Alan
only,
Cummings,
he's the only guy I know. Well, there may be more, but like when I was growing up as well, I found it very difficult to relate to somebody. You know.
No, there was a bit of a scandal a little while ago where the guy who played Nick in Heartstopper, people on the internet were being like, oh, he shouldn't be playing this bisexual character if he's not bisexual.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he wasn't out as
they got a minor to
yeah, well, I think he's 18 now, but like basically he was getting so much harassment and people were being like, he shouldn't be playing this character or whatever.
One thing that I would really like to talk about is, because I struggled with, was feminine men being bi, because I think that was a thing, and I have a lot of friends who are quite feminine, and people just paint them with the same brush of gay, and they're like, I'm actually bi, and people are like, oh no, you're not.
Do you think society treats bi men differently to bi women? How
Conveniently. I do think that society treats bi men and bi women differently, because again, on that saying, like, you know, if a man is quite feminine, you know, he has to be gay, or if he's very, you know, masculine, he has to be straight, whereas women can go, you know, they can be anyway.
I don't know, maybe it's been changing a little bit in recent years. Like, I think there are plenty of women as well who are like interested in relationships with more feminine men, more feminine presenting men, because I think that is such a big reason that like masculine, like bisexual men feel kind of insecure about like being open about their bisexuality. It's like, will this make me more like, will this make me less appealing to women? Will women be more distrustful of me? Coming back to the cheating thing, will people think that I'm disloyal to my partner? Will people think that I'll be disloyal to potential partners? I think there's a lot kind of wrapped up in that, and I think we just need to like get over ourselves as a society and just like let people be people, let people be themselves.
This might be a dated reference, but I think we talked about this before. You remember the series Big Mouth? Had a season where Ali Wong's character comes out as pansexual, and people seem really open and receptive to that, which inspires Jay to come out as bisexual, and he finds a much less welcome reception to his coming out, because he's assumed to be a lot more like intense and aggressive as a bisexual man than Ali Wong's character. And I know I found that kind of reflective of
what we're talking about.
How that's gendered.
What are your thoughts when someone says you will just turn out gay? No. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think as a bi man, I've already been in that cycle, like we spoke about earlier, where it's like, am I bi? Am I gay? I've already probably internalized that myself. I've probably internalized it myself way longer than even, like, it takes a lot to come out, you know what I mean? So for me, I probably thought about it for years beforehand. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a never say never kind of person. Like, I know that I've identified as like things that I no longer identify as over the course of my life. I'm never going to rule out and be like, I don't know who I'm going to be in 10 years. I'm a different person now than I was 3 years ago, whatever. But like, I think telling someone like, this is a phase is so condescending. And it's like, it's saying to someone's face, I think I know you better than you know yourself. And that's just so inaccurate. Like, I've identified as bi for 9 years now. And that's like, thank you, thank you. But so like, I'm pretty settled on it. It's like bi, queer, gay sometimes in terms of like, it's as an umbrella term, as someone who like, I'll use it similarly to like queer, but I don't think that like using the terms bi and gay are necessarily mutually exclusive.
I think the answer to maybe you'll just turn out gay is, and maybe some of your advice will be solicited at that point.
Yeah, maybe at that point. I don't give a shit.
Regardless of people's sexuality, I think we just have to just pull back a little bit and just let people love who they want to love regardless. And it would just be nice to how people react on what we were saying about if someone does come out as bi, to like not put up the guard straight away and see them as a danger, because at the end of the day, we're people too, and we're going to love who we love. So just don't feel that the guard needs to go up if you know a person, especially if they come out as bisexual.
I mean, everyone who like comes out as anything is kind of constantly coming out, but I think like even just in terms of like growing and learning about yourself and growing up as a person and going from like adolescence to like adulthood and like the different kind of phases of adulthood as well, where it's like you're constantly learning about yourself, and sexuality is like going to be a part of that as well.
I'd add to that. In fact, my message would be embrace the being annoying and just coming out, like doing that. I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm trans, just like over.
Gotta collect them all.
Yeah, no, just don't be afraid to just like, you don't don't have just one. You don't feel compelled to just have one.
That is the bisexual motto. I'm glad you got that in there.
Terrible GDPR. Like they really should
absolutely.
Put that right.
We gotta fix our branding. Wait, not. Bye.